Hi everyone, and welcome to this video which goes through the types of conformity. This is part of the social influence topic for Stage 2 psychology. Let's get started. So, social conformity is a powerful force, as we have already seen. So much so that social psychologists endorse the idea that people like to stand out, but only in a good way. So we want to be seen as individuals, except in ways that would make us seem weird or different to others. Since Ash's famous study, 3 types of conformity exist in society: compliance, identification, and internalization. It is important to note that conformity does not involve an actual authority figure. However, we can perceive others as having authority over us, which is not real authority, only perceived. If it's genuine authority, that is, of course, obedience, which I talk about in separate videos. So first, let's talk about compliance. Compliance is when we publicly, but not privately, go along with the majority influence in order to gain approval. Compliance is usually short-term and the shallowest level of conformity out of the 3 types. A very good example of compliance is when we eat broccoli when we go to a grandparent's house, because it's socially expected. So even though we may not like broccoli, our public display of behaviour goes against our private views regarding broccoli. So we eat it just to fit in. So publicly, we are going along with the majority influence, but privately, we still hate broccoli. And because it's short term, once we get home from our grandparents' house, we resume both public and privately hating broccoli. Next is identification. This involves public and private acceptance of majority influence in order to gain group acceptance. This is considered mid-level conformity, so stronger than compliance, but not as strong as internalization. So this is when a person changes their public behavior and private beliefs, but only when they are in the presence of a specific group they admire. So a very good example of identification is someone drinking alcohol when they're in the presence of friends. However, on their own, or with another separate group of friends, they choose not to drink alcohol. So they're only going along publicly and privately with a particular group that they identify with, hence the term. Internalization is seen as the deepest level of conformity. So this is when our public and private acceptance of majority influence through adoption of the majority's group's beliefs system. So this is when a person changes their public behavior to match the group, and also then takes on the group's belief system and changes their behavior consistently. So again, this is the deepest level of conformity. It's not superficial or short-term like compliance is, and we adopt the changes whether we're with a particular group or by ourselves. It doesn't matter who we are with. So we have internalized the ideals through the majority group's belief system. And a very good example of this is being influenced by a group or a partner to become vegetarian. So someone will stop eating meat. Once the individual continues eating a vegetarian diet, whether they're in the presence of friends or their partner or not, they have then internalized this belief as the healthier option and changed their long-term behavior. So internalization generally involves long-term behavior change because of a group's belief system. The person has internalized their beliefs as their own. So no matter how or where they are in terms of the group or whether they're by themselves or with their partner, they continue eating vegetarian. It's summarized in a very helpful table pictured here. So all 3 types of conformity involve a change in public behavior, but the private belief is different. With compliance, our private belief is not changed. Identification it is, but only in the presence of the majority of that specific group, and it is privately changed with internalization. Compliance and identification tend to be short-term, whereas internalization is long-term. I hope you found this video useful. As always, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, happy revising.